few voices, not just for sanity, but of fighting and campaigning for the left and against war in this country. Please welcome Owen Jones. Friends, 14 years. 14 years of this so-called war on terror. And who can stand there with a straight face and say that that war on terror has been a success? It hasn't. It has been one of the great catastrophic failures of modern times. 14 years since the atrocities committed by Al-Qaeda in the United States. And in that time, terrorists are stronger and more powerful and more extreme than they have ever been. Terrorist attacks at that peak. You could make an argument that Al-Qaeda is on the verge of defeat. They're not at the hands of the West. At the hands of ISIS, a group even more gruesome and murderous than them. We have seen hundreds of thousands of lives lost, millions driven from their homes and maimed. We've seen Iraq turned into a playground for fundamentalist extremists. Libya, the same thing. And every time we're told that we have to intervene, because if we don't, it will be so much worse. But look at every single intervention. And it reminds me of a quote often ascribed to Albert Einstein, that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that is what we're talking about today. That's what we're talking about. Now, friends, there is no question that ISIS, Daesh, whatever you want to call them, are a despicable, murderous death cult. They murder overwhelmingly Muslims in Syria and Iraq. And in Paris, of course, where I went days after that atrocity, where they murdered in cold blood French people, predominantly young, with their girlfriends, their boyfriends, their loved ones, enjoying a gig, and massacred people in restaurants. The day that organisation is wiped from the face of this planet will be a good day, a great day, and we will work for that day. We're all agreed on that. It's how we get there. And that's the issue. And as Brian says, it is about time we start standing up to a Saudi dictatorship which beheads people for being gay, for standing up for democracy, which treats women as third, fifth, eighth class citizens, a dictatorship that exports extremism the world over, the epicenter of extremism. But what do? We arm them to the teeth. We lower the flag flying there to half-mast when the Saudi dictator died last year. And it's the same. It's the same with Turkey, a NATO ally, which allows ISIS extremists to cross the border, and Turkey, which attacks Kurdish freedom fighters who are fighting for democracy and against that murderous death cult. It's about time we start standing up to Turkey as well. But friends, this is the reality, to wrap up, we have to face. The vast majority of people being killed in Syria are not being killed by ISIS, they are being killed by the dictatorship. And the reality is, the vast majority of Sunnis, they don't like ISIS, but they fear Assad more than they fear ISIS. And that is why the only solution to this, a lasting solution, is a national unity government in Syria that commands the support of the overwhelming majority of the population. That's what we need, a national unity government, bringing together all the regional players to make sure that happens. So let's stand up for that settlement, let's oppose this bombing, let's stop doing the same thing over and over again that has just ended with more bloodshed and murder and more terrorism, and let's stand up for a peaceful world purged of extremism and these catastrophic wars. We stand together, we fight together, and we will win this battle together. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed.